A whale bought nearly $8 million of XRP just before tomorrow's crypto summit. Does this whale know something? If you think about it, in the recent times, whenever there's some sort of announcement or, whether it be tariffs or some reserve currency announcement by the White House, there have been entities that have benefited massively from it. Either they've bought a token that then pumped, or they've shorted something that then dumped, etc., etc. Now we have a whale that has bought nearly $8 million worth of XRP. Do they know something that we don't? It's up to you to speculate. Not financial advice, do your own research. I have also bought quite a fair bit today, not because of some announcement or some summit or whatever, but just because, it's my dollar cost average regime. And because we had that dip, I ensured that I went in 4x. The dip is nearly over because we have nearly V-shaped recovered, but still in good buy zone in my opinion. Anyhow, talking about this summit, I've been looking at what mainstream media has been saying about the summit that is about to happen. I believe it's tomorrow. It's a crypto summit by the White House. And it's kind of a mixed bag. Unlike the United States, everything is political. So the opinion that I'm seeing in the media is heavily colored by the political spectrum, right? Whether or not it's left-leaning or right-leaning. Now, a lot of the media, so-called press in the United States, aren't really press at all. They don't share the news per se, rather they share opinion pieces, right? So whether it be Tucker Carlson or what's the other one? What's that woman's name? Rachel Maddow or whatever, or softer people towards the center, like is it Dave Pacman? Is it Dave Pacman? I remember I used to watch Dave Pacman a while ago. Quite interesting guy. Anyway, their opinions are colored by their politics, so it's hard to discern, what true news is and what isn't. But the whole point is they're talking about it. I think that's a win and a plus for everyone. It puts crypto front and center of pretty much everybody's day at the moment. You can't go a day without hearing about it these days. On the negative side, I'm hearing people basically complain about how the White House is putting more importance on crypto rather than education and healthcare and spending on social services, etc. On the plus side, I'm hearing people sort of almost celebrate that this is going to kick off some kind of new space race, arms race, space race, something like that, with the United States right at the forefront of that, and how that's going to kickstart industry, tech industry. It's going to kickstart innovation in the United States. A particular guest that they had on was a contributor. I believe he even mentioned XRP, or at least Ripple by name, because they apparently were on some kind of advisory board for Ripple at some point, not currently, but sometime in the past. And they mentioned XRP. So that puts XRP in front of millions of Americans and people around the world. I think this was on Fox News as well. If I can find the clip, I'll feature it or link it or whatever in the description. But the whole point is, a lot of people are going to be watching this summit, and a lot of Americans, believe it or not, are going to be hearing about crypto for the first time in their lives. A lot of them are going to be finally taking it seriously, something that went from what geeks and nerds and weirdos and criminals and Silk Road people were buying illegal stuff on the internet with, is now something that the US government, the White House, covets and is thinking about buying, which is kind of crazy to me. So we're going to see, crypto generally enter a new era of legitimacy. Even though the people that already know about it, yeah, for us, it's sort of been a no-brainer this whole time. But there are people like even those guys that are making fun of it, right? There was a comedian that was basically making fun of crypto, and he still referred to it as, magic internet nothingness or whatever, blah blah blah. The usual stuff. Even those guys now are going to turn around and find some kind of new legitimacy in their heads, whether or not they like it, when it's been discussed by apparently important people in government, in the financial sector, in the highest house of the land, the White House. On a less positive note, we have the FOMC meeting coming up soon, when Jerome Powell throws a monkey wrench into the works, pours sawdust into our engines and ruins our party. But having said that, the economy is not looking so well. The jobs data got a little bit worse. The economy got a little bit worse, which is apparently good for Wall Street. So that might not be such a bad thing, actually. So looking forward to that. The other slightly negative sentiment that I have, thought process that I had, was, whether or not governments may now be thinking about obtaining people's crypto to chuck into their reserve. I'm sure you've heard that the White House has said that they're going to investigate how they're going to or how they could buy coins without it costing the taxpayer, which obviously leans heavily on, seized cryptos, confiscated stuff, like the Silk Road one, for instance. They're going to be chucking that in the reserve, right? And I also heard something that China is going to be doing something similar. So if they do that, especially in China, maybe not so much in America, Americans are less likely to give up their stuff that way. But, and the US government is not as tyrannical as, say, the Chinese government, right? So the Chinese government and other such similar governments may, take on this tactic where, they incriminate people and maybe release a whole bunch of new laws that suddenly criminalize, self-hosting or something like this, right? And then if for whatever reason they're able to confiscate, even though it's not very, very easy to do if you do it right, there's no real technological way of doing it. But let's say there's a legal way of doing it somehow, or they're able to seize people's holdings on exchanges, which they would be able to do very easily. Not your keys, not your crypto, by the way. That could be a way for them to accumulate, just taking it from people. I hope we'll never see that over here, but I wouldn't put it past our government, to be honest with you. Anyhow, not financial advice, your own research. Remember, not your keys, not your crypto. Learn about self-hosting. I can't wait till tomorrow. Let's see what the let's see what the summit brings. I think either way, the only way is eventually up.